I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the whole weekend. I'm loving it. I've learned so much from people that I even knew. I learned more about them. So it's been a really
Yeah.
enjoyable weekend. Thank you for inviting us.
No
Yeah.
problem. No problem.
Yes, I told my husband we're going to Dubai. I don't care what, we're going to Dubai.
Yes, the Cavalcade of Authors will be in the Bahamas next year
Yeah.
and then the Dubai the next year after, because it's in
Hmm.
relation to our books. Like we would have been in Paradise Island, and J.L. Campbell's book, Night of Paradise Island, released the week we were supposed to be in
Mm.
Paradise Island. So that
Oh,
didn't quite work out the way it
gotcha.
was supposed to. So we were supposed to go to Dubai in 2021, but everything shifted because of, life, because
Hmm.
the King Knights of the Castle were based in the Middle East. So we were going to go to Dubai based on the books. So now we got to shift it a little bit, but it's okay. We're all surviving and making do with everything that's going on here in the political climate, the social climate. And, you know, we as a people have always survived. We still here. People have tried to do whatever, and we just looking back in the cup. Really, that's what y'all doing now? Really? I mean, we don't even get. I don't think we even get surprised now. I think the world is surprised, but I don't think we get surprised by anything that's going on here. So, I want to introduce to some and present to others. V. Helena. I mean, this woman is phenomenal. She is phenomenal. I met her at the National Book Club conference in Atlanta, and it was I was not part of the National Book Club conference that particular year, but I had people there who were, so I was there to support them. And she had her assistant there with her, and I was outside in the lobby, and I had all of these giveaways, and I had bags, and her person came, and she was sitting there on the table taking notes, and I'm like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I thought it was the conference folks trying to come get me and reporting back. I didn't know what was going on. So she came out, and her person said, "We want to interview you." I said, "You do realize I'm not a part of the event?" She said, "I don't care about that. I don't care about that. This is about books. This is about authors. I want to interview you." I said, "You sure?" Then she walks me back in between all the conference stuff, and it was like, wow, walk me all up in the mix, and I'm like tipping in like I done stole something. And then we had this interview, was the most amazing interview that I have had. It was powerful. It was the questions that she asked, and I could tell she wasn't prepared for some of the answers that I gave. And I'm not talking about any freaky answers, y'all. I'm just talking about just in general, because I come from here. So I'm going to let V. Helena tell us a little bit about herself, and I'm going to ask a few questions about some of the people that you interviewed. So,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, well, cool. I first want to start off by saying the reason why I asked my assistant to come over and talk to you and see if you would agree to come on is because um, I had seen what you were doing for your authors, and I was like, this is the kind of person I want to make sure that I associate with on a long-term basis. Because as many of you know, I'm about to call you Lisa. I love calling you by your author name, Naleighna.
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 Okay.
I love calling you by that name, but I mean, you have a mad hustle. You have a very, very strong drive to achieve whatever it is that you have on your mind to do. And that totally came out in the interview that we had. And you're right, I was surprised by some of your responses, only because up until that point, I was not introduced to Naleighna. But I could see who you were with your business hat on, and said, you know what, I definitely want to engage, connect, and find out more about this dynamic sister. And I'm so glad that I did. And since then, I've just been watching at a distance all that you've been doing in the industry. And then what you're doing right now. I mean, you're such a giving spirit. You know from A to Z the business. And so you know how to promote people. I mean, and then on top of that, you're a writer. So, I mean, you just possess all of the right things to really, really be successful in this industry. And I just think it's great what you're doing, and just keep it up, sister. And then again, if there's anything that I can do on my end to promote you and your folks even more, you just let me know. I'm just a phone call away.
Yes. Well,
I got you.
Well, and I'm going to hold you to that, because I got a whole tribe of authors that they need. Shakira is online right now. We got SF Hardy and the lady up top. Well, everybody's screen configuration is different. So we got Stephanie Freeman up top with The Season of the Blood and Nature of the Beast and all those. And you and him around one of the babies of the family with her finally. I will send you a list and a bio of all of the authors in the tribe. So that'll be on the circuit or whatever. We got to get you to Chicago. We have to take you with us to Bahamas, whatever we need to roll out to get this done, because your reviews, your video presentations are top notch. Very nothing but class.
I appreciate that. And anyone that's associated with you, carte blanche. Because of your name, who you are, anyone that's tied to you, you got it.
All right.
And listen, let me just say this, because there are a team of people that work with me, right? And our usual is that we send them to the website that has the instructions on how to be a guest on the show. Then they have to send their book, and then their book has to be reviewed. Then we have roundtable discussion about whether or not we're even going to bring them on the show. So because of you, we're skipping all of that. I totally have faith in you. And I know that you don't play around. So anyone that is in your tribe that you're going to send my way, because your name is attached to it, I'm not even going to question it. So again, you just let me know who, and we'll make it happen.
That's an awesome thing, because I'm telling you, tribe, they're a hard working group of people. And when I say we are a literary family, we are a literary family. That's my brother. He keeps me in check. He keeps me on point. He told me last night, sis, go to bed. Sis, go to bed. He put it out in the group, and then he sent me an inbox. Sis, go to bed, get some rest. So
and I said what I said.
Right. And then I'm like, I gave him a question mark, and he did. I said what I said. I'm like, oh, okay, well, good night, sir. And that's the key thing. And I've got texts to people, have you eaten? Because you all saw me constantly online, and I didn't do a lot of the things I needed to do.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, but that's a testament of who you are. I mean, you are just such a hard hitter, very energetic. You're going to get it done by hook or by crook. So it's not surprising, but I know that you got to take care of you too.
That's true. And I don't do that well. But Tribe keeps me, they've been keeping me on point for that, because they know that I get in that zone and I'm driven, and I still work a 9 to 5, as well as the editing, as well as the series, as well as the marketing, the promotion, the cavalcade. There's so many hats to juggle, but I went all in for the cavalcade, because that is not a do-over moment. So everything with the cavalcade, and it was new. I did a post today, what we call a long ass post in the Namakir group, with a whole, probably 2 to 3 pages of things. Well, actually, this was shorter than normal. So it's about a page of things that I didn't know I needed until we went through this. So now I know I need somebody to monitor the chat. I need somebody dropping those links. I need somebody who's making sure the graphics, everybody make sure they're, so I didn't know that until I went through it. But I also didn't want anything to lag or fail, because we were recording. And these are going to go on our new YouTube channel that my son is putting together. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody, the tribe and our guest authors, were represented well. But I did not take care of the business that I needed to take care of for myself. And you're right, we tend to do that. But my tribe, they don't play. And I will listen to them. And these are people I know that have my best interests at heart, because not everybody is looking out for you. But in the tribe, we look out for each other. Your best interview. I was there when you did Bernice McFadden. I was there. Did you get to do Alice Walker?
No. Well, I had a very short interview. I couldn't get her in the chair in front of the camera. So the camera followed me, and we caught her, and we did a very, very brief, 10-minute interview. And the interviews, well, I think your interview record time may have been an hour, But, and we had to shoot it down to 28 because, we're now we're broadcasted on 23 channels. We're on 9 podcast stations, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and we got picked up by the American Legacy Network. So we're just really, really growing. We have over 2.5 million viewers and streamers now. So I love to use this platform to really, really show off the talent, particularly in the African-American literary world, because we don't get a lot of opportunities like that, unfortunately. When you compare it to our white counterparts who just have a plethora of opportunities that are thrown at them. And I find that when I pick up a book written by an African-American author, most times it is a lot more intriguing, well written than, others of other ethnicities. And so I often ask the question, why is that? Why is that? And then of course, Naleighna, I know that you know about the upheaval in the literary world right now. I know, the whole publisher paid me.
Yeah.
The whole, Janine Cummings with her American Dirt book that just kind of exploded. And so one good thing about that is publishers are starting to look at African-American writers more closely. And, it's a cycle. Back in the 90s, people like Terry McMillan and hey, Terry, I see you there. People like Victoria Christopher Murray, Terry and I were under her apprenticeship a couple of years ago. But people like that, they really got their start and they really, really took off in the 80s, 90s. So now it's another wave, it's another cycle for us. And it's unfortunate that it's because of the upheaval that's happening in the literary world. It's like, they want to encourage and find opportunities to get Black voices and get our stories under their publications. So we got to do something. This industry is not where it needs to be. In terms of diversity, it's just not there. And the publishing industry, they are very, very much a part of how we culminate and how we show diversity. Everybody's reading. And so the stories that you share as African-American writers, you're showing a glimpse of our community. And so that's why it's so important that the publishing industry get on board and really, really promote more Black voices and stories. I'm going to get off my
But this is your platform. This is the soapbox. This is the place for it. And I'm just saying, if not here, where?
Yeah.
This is the place that I wanted authors. Well, and there's a lot of readers in here as well that are coming to hear what we have to say. And publishing paid me. The fact that the white authors opened up and told the truth. They told the truth and said, hey, y'all, but I said it earlier in the Cavalcade that it was a microcosm of what is going on globally.
Yes, absolutely.
That was just a pinpoint in the music industry, in the literary industry, on a political level. It's everywhere. But the fact that it blew up, but what it also did, there were a lot of white authors who were so mad also about that whole Rita Awards thing that finally Kennedy Ryan finally. A Black woman, there have been a handful that have been nominated for an award, the Rita Award, and none of them had won in the 27 years that it had in existence. So she finally won. And we were like, yes, finally. But then the question came, but how come a Black woman hadn't won before? And then it came out that a Black woman founded
I didn't know that.
RWA was founded by Vivian Stevens. So now there is no longer a Rita Awards. It is now the Vivian Stevens Award.
Awesome.
But what happened was there were so many white authors that were angry, and they lifted up their skirts and they showed their racism drawers. I'm just saying, it was unbelievable that on their Facebook page, they were ranting and raving about the fact that now Black authors were going to have a seat at the table, when hell, she built the damn table. She put the napkins, the silverware, the dinnerware. She did all that, and then they pushed her out. When they pushed her out, it ushered in an era where the only people who were getting any recognition were white authors. So publishing paid me, and the Rita So White hashtags.
Right.
It's shown a light, and then all of a sudden, now the publishing houses are saying, I'm going to say this, are saying that they are giving another look at books, but the authors that are of color, works that come from authors of color. But I haven't seen a major shift in that. So they're talking a good game, but I haven't seen any evidence of it quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's so interesting. I was on a panel yesterday for another conference, and the panel was about the importance of representation. And we had two literary agents and two authors, and myself. We just had a really, really great discussion. I mean, of course, this is something that it was only an hour long panel, but it's something that we could talk about all day. And I presented some statistics to the panel. If you wouldn't mind, Naleighna, I'd like to just really, really quick give some stats, because I mean they're not surprising, but they're still startling. Because I know that you already know how to break the ice in terms of more representation. But let me tell you these stats real quick. So there was in Forbes magazine, and this was printed in September 28th of this year. So it was just a few weeks ago. They were talking about in 2019, the book readership stats. Okay, so 76% of whites, non-Hispanic, are readers. Okay, so 76% is the highest percent. 65% are Black, non-Hispanic, and 59% Hispanic. So 76, 65, 59, still really high percentages, not that far from each other. So it's like, well, how do they decide when they're acquiring a book or they're promoting a book or an author? How do they make these decisions given, 65% of Black readers is not that far from 76% of Black readers. So one thing that those on the panel agreed to, they use the word white supremacy. That word is, basically ties it all together. There is and has been in the literary publishing world, whether it's a small boutique publisher or a larger publisher, where they are, whether they realize it or not, they are catering to that 76%. And every so often you'll get a really good African-American writer, and then they all jump and run to that genre, or they will market that author. And it's not a bad thing. Someone mentioned Tayari a few minutes ago. Tam mentioned Tayari. I mean, when her book came out, American Marriage, she had to have Oprah behind it. Once Oprah blesses a book, or a book club of that stature blesses a book written by an African-American author, then you will see it take off. But there's so many other authors. Some of them are listening. Some are on your panel now that read and write. They write very good literature. But Oprah's not ringing their phone. So what happens with them? Mm-hmm. And so, one thing that we know for sure, and I know that you already know this, is we just have to have more diversity in the publishing industry itself. Not so much the authors, but in the publishing industry. And I'll give you one more stat, and then I'm gonna finish with my stats. Okay. 79% of the folks that work in the publishing industry. These are agents, editors, sales, marketing people, reviewers, basically decision makers. 79% of them are white.
Mhm.
So if I'm reviewing, if I'm in the boardroom with these people and everybody or the majority are white, and you have books that you're looking to acquire, not all of those folks are going to, be as sensitive to the stories that are being presented by African American authors. And it's not that they don't. Well, I'm just going to say they don't appreciate it. They don't know that world. They don't know our lives. And so the appreciation for it just isn't there. And I'm certain that when Janine Cummings' book, American Dirt, she got a 7-figure advance, okay? A 7-figure, not a 6-figure. She ain't even write the damn book yet, but she got a 7-figure advance to write a book about life on the Mexican border. And I'm not saying that a white person can't write that experience, but when it went to the reviewers, first of all, the publisher, the editor, everybody else, nobody caught this, but when it went to the reviewers, and immediately the red flags went up. They were talking about that the character is long, because she's writing about Mexicans on the border, but she doesn't know the culture. So she wasn't really able to get into the intricacies of their lives, just like a white person writing about our experience. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm saying we could write our stories better. And in Janine's case, it was found that she lifted some content from another author of Latino ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in this, so now she's plagiarizing because she's reaching, because she can't associate. But this thing went all the way, Flatiron was the publisher. They printed all these books, and you got Oprah on a Today Show and some other places. You got Gail there too. Everybody's promoting this book. And it was a complete disaster for her and for everything. They had to close down the book tour because people were talking about inciting violence. So, I mean, this just to bring it back full circle, and I'm gonna be quiet, Naleighna. I don't know why I'm having a hard time saying your name today.
It's okay.
I don't know what it is. I think because I'm looking at the spelling and it's tripping me up. I mean, it's spelled the way it sounds, but I don't know why. I don't know. Okay. But the last point I want to make about this whole thing, my platform is here for African-American writers. And I've had people on like Connie Briscoe, Marita Golden, Victoria Christopher Murray. I had Donna Hill a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna have Brian Smith in a couple of more weeks. I had Naleighna Kai on. So, these are people who are trailblazers in their genre. And I think that they have a lot to say about their writing practice. And that's what my show is all about. It's called the Writers Haven Show. And it's an opportunity for authors to share their tools for success with other authors, to inspire them, to just continue to uplift our voices, and at the same way showcase our voices. So that's the main reason for my show. So I appreciate and thank you for inviting me to come on your platform to talk about it.
We have an unexpected visitor. The cat's like walking back and forth.
Oh yeah.
She's saying, can you wrap this up? It's feeding time. She didn't walk past, she looked in the room, and then she went back, and then she came back again, looked back in the room. But I wanted to speak to something a lot of people don't know. Now, this lady of Latino descent did not make it through that plagiarism scandal. But let me tell you, one of the biggest scandals was Janet Dailey and Nora Roberts. Janet Dailey was accused of plagiarizing prose from one of the biggest names in the genre, Nora Roberts. Now, here's the interesting thing. With all of that, she lost her big time publisher, but she picked up another one. Let me tell you how this works. Publishing paid me. She plagiarized somebody else's stuff, her work, Nora Roberts' work.
Not just somebody, but a big somebody.
Right. And she was supposed to be a big somebody too, but it wasn't just one book, it was 2 books or whatever. But my thing is, she survived that fallout because her fans still supported her. And then she got another book deal with another major house. She lost the first big publisher, but she got a new publisher. Now, you know, if that was a author of...
We'd be done. We'd be done. There would be no other discussion. We would be chastised in the media, and find something else to do because you're not going to be successful as a writer. Start self-publishing, which I don't have anything against self-publishing. I actually really think self-publishing is a great way to get your work out there, and it's so easy to do it now. And then you get more, a higher reward when you self-publish. But we're not talking about that. But yeah, you're right. It's if it were us, because we're held to a higher standard. And we all strive to get to that place of excellence, and we should continue to do that. Work harder at our craft, read good literature so you can write great literature, and we just need to do more of that.
Indeed, there are people saying, please write her platform and podcast name. So as you are, I want you to first of all tell us where we can find you. And
sure,
as a panelist, you can drop all of your links in the chat because there are new people who signed on. So I want to make sure everybody is seeing this right after, you are on, and we're moving to the next person, which is Radia. She is right down there. Hey, Radia.
She's ready to go.
Yeah. But I want to go ahead. Tell us where we can find you.
Yeah. So our website is www.writershavenshow.com. And we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify. As I said, we're broadcasted. If you're in the Maryland, DC, Virginia area, if you go to our website, it has a listing of all the channels that you can find us on, and as well as our podcast platform. So www.writershavenshow.com, you'll get all the information. And yes, I'll put it in the chat as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Queen.
Indeed. So if you want to hang out and hear what everybody else is saying, all you have to do is stop video and you will shift you. You'll still be a panelist, so you can chat with the people in the chat room as well. So
okay, I will do that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, sister. And this is a great platform. Keep up the great work. And I'll be waiting to get that list.
Yes, Shakir, you got me. Okay, that's all. He got me. He won't let me forget. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye now.